2, 3. Woohoo! We got audio. So let's see then if the chat is up and running. If you're watching, say hello in the chat. We'll be just sitting here making some stuff today, so I'm able to answer some questions. Uh-oh. And it's a butterfly. So these are meant for putting in the flower pots in your window where you have your flowers. It's a test project, kind of a prototype. Just wanted to find something I could use the laser cutter on and see if it's able to make some money as well. Maybe, I don't know. Some of the smaller laser cut MDF holes are still stuck in the cutting track, so I have to push them out manually. Butterflies. I wonder how long it takes approximately for hot glue to not be melt anymore. Oh, I'm out of sticks. Have to go get some more sticks. okay? Or yeah, looks okay. Spring. This turned out pretty cool. I really like that burned look it gets. And the edges. Putting a little bit of pressure on it. Just until the glue sticks. So these are laser cut butterflies out of MDF, 3mm of MDF. If you want to see those being laser cut, you can watch the earlier clips on the stream. I did a couple of batches yesterday, I think it was. It's pretty cool. Oh. Some of the laser cut MDF is harder to get out than the others. So it kind of tells me that the MDF sheet wasn't entirely flat when it was being cut out by the laser cutter, because there are some differences in how it's being cut, and it really does matter on where on the laser cutter it is. So I think I need to just kind of level the work, the bed on the laser cutter a little bit. Butterflies! I can see butterflies. So if you're watching, say hello in the chat. It's always nice to have someone to talk to. I'm in the middle of making butterflies, and they're meant to be put in the flower pots next to the flowers. If you want one, let me know. Maybe I'll get one. Maybe I'll send it to you. This one was a little bit harder to get off. I bet this would be really cool to paint with an airbrush to get some nice colors on it. Should be stuck now. Oh, I need to grab this phone. I'll be back in maybe 10 minutes. Oh. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. Audio check. So let's see then. If you can hear me, say hello in the chat. Had some microphone issues apparently. No. Uh-oh. I forgot to glue this. It's rubbish now. That's what happens when you leave during gluing. Oh well, that's how it is. Just waiting for the glue to melt. So, some of my favorite viewers on Twitch asked me on the chat what's this for. This is butterflies, and it's kind of a decorative project, so it's meant for putting this wooden sticks on it, so you can put it inside a flower pot, and it's a decorative thing for flowers. Because everyone knows that butterflies likes flowers, right? It's basically just a test project for doing something creative with a laser cutter. And apparently this has already been quite well accepted within my family, actually. They like it a lot, so I thought I would make some more. And who knows, maybe someone will actually pay me some money for it someday. I don't know. It's nice to build some stuff anyway. So this is a butterfly. I love the smell of burned MDF in the morning. So watching glue dry is apparently better than watching paint dry. I don't know. It's the most crappy joke I had this far, so if you want to say hello in the chat, just do that. I'll answer any questions. I'm not sure that this chat works. Chat. Oh. Apparently that chat didn't work. Sorry. Test. Looks like I was in the wrong window or something. Still quite don't understand the chat options on the iPhone app. I don't have a separate screen here at the moment, so I just have to try and watch the chat with my iPhone, and it's not the easiest, to be honest. I would really like the chat to be full screen, but oh, it's almost full screen now. Good enough. Bum, 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 bum. So if you're watching, let me know if the audio is working fine. I can feel that this one's haven't gotten to burn all the way through. Just kind of some tiny places where it doesn't have gone all the way. Maybe I should turn up the power on the laser cutter just a tiny bit, just to make sure that this doesn't happen, because these are, it's not directly cut through, and it's, if you just push it through like I do now, sometimes the back of the MDF sheet comes off, and that kind of sucks. think I'll just let this one go. Use my time on the ones that really are nice. Butterflies. Butterflies everywhere. Even on my desktop. Feels like doing this for half a minute is enough until it sticks. It sticks to the stick. This one you can see, this is the front side and this is the back side on when it's on the laser cutter. You can see the burn marks on the back side is different from the front side. That's because the MDF sheet was laying directly onto the laser cutter bed, and the heat kind of gets trapped between the bed and the MDF sheet, and that makes some different burn marks, I think. I'm not sure though, but I think so. Ow. Apparently this glue is hot. Burns my fingers sometimes. It's really easy to work with though. And for this type of material, I think it's more than sufficient to just keep it in place. I haven't thought of that one. Kind of leaves a mark when you push it down. I wonder how hard it sticks. Maybe we should do a bench test. It feels solid. Feels very solid. I think the stick will break before the glue loosens. Yeah, this is sufficient. If you're using it like that, then you're doing it wrong. So let me know if the audio is okay. I still haven't had the chance to double check the audio on the stream. Maybe I'll just do it just to be sure. Oh, I have to watch some commercials. That's nice. Oh, audio check. Oh, so the audio is working. Alright. I'll get back to the chat somehow. Why can't I have full screen chat on the mobile? How hard can it be? That's the most important thing with using Twitch, right? Being able to talk to the viewers. So why is the chat not full screen? Come on then. It's almost full screen now. I wonder wonder what the advertisers actually pay for every Twitch commercial. There we go. And another butterfly. Woohoo! It's ready for some flowers. Maybe if this becomes a hit with some type of laser cut symbol with a stick on it becomes popular, then I can make a robot that actually assembles this. That would be cool. It's even cooler than making this, maybe. Definitely more advanced. Needs a lot of Arduinos and servos and a lot of hours of engineering. And that's fun, right? Oh. When you think it's cold and it's still hot. Need some more room. Well, that didn't work. Learn by failing. That's the best way of learning, I think. Doing it wrong, then learning what you did wrong, and then do it again, and then you'll make it right. Butterflies. It looks like the restream chat is down for at the moment. Hopefully my mobile chat is running fine. Sorry, there's a lot of viewers, but nobody is saying anything, so apparently you like what you're watching, just don't want to say anything. That's okay. That sound when the MDF snaps off, just right, it's kind of satisfying. Oh, it works. Yeah, it works. Oh, it works. Still works. Oh, does not work. Well, it works. Work. I'm not sure this is certified. It had a little bit of damage on it, so I'll just leave it. Did not pass the quality check. I see butterflies. Maybe it would be cool to make some actual flowers out of MDF as well and put them on the sticks. Maybe a sunflower or something. Probably would be cool to paint it. I don't know. Butterflies. Oh. The chat is definitely not working. Yeah. So apparently Restream is having some issues. They're actually telling that
It's
on the
very
chat
good,
as well.
and we should do this. And then other people are saying the same.
So sorry if you have said anything on Facebook or YouTube or Mixer or something. I wouldn't have been able to answer your questions because I have never read them. Sorry, it's not my fault. It's Restream. But I am able to read the Twitch. So if you go into the Twitch comments, so if you go into twitch.tv/cncgarasjen in Norwegian, say cncgarasj. She's en. Then you can actually be able to follow everything and be able to interact. Just say hello in the chat and we'll go from there. There's been quite a few of these now. Butterflies. I'm almost out of butterflies now. Maybe I'll just continue on to the other prototype project I have. It also needs some glue. The thing is, I was out of hot glue yesterday when I needed to do this, so I had to go buy some more in the store today. If you 3D print an object like this on a 3D printer, it will probably take you around, I don't know, I would say maybe between maybe 40 minutes to maybe 60 minutes for this kind of a flat object, because you have to put a floor on the bed of the printer first, and then you have to print the work area of the butterfly onto the printer afterwards. So it will take around maybe an hour to print, maybe less. I don't know. Let's say, just for the sake of it, let's say 45 minutes to print one of these butterflies with a work area of 20 by 20 centimeters or something. And to laser cut 25 of these takes 2 hours. So sometimes a 3D printer is not the best solution for making stuff. And that's before you get into all of the environmental stuff. How if you 3D print a butterfly, it will last for 200 years. If you make it out of MDF or any other wood, maybe balsa or something, then it will probably break down environmentally much faster than using plastic, at least. I'm not sure about the hot glue though, how fast that breaks down, but hopefully it's faster than normal plastic. At least it's not the same amount, so it's so in terms of prototyping, I think laser cut wood or just cut by CNC machine makes a lot of sense when it comes to bigger sizes, because 3D printers takes a lot of time. But sometimes you need a 3D object that is more than, this is a 2D object, it's just flat, and that works for laser cutters. But as soon as it needs to be 3D, then you need to do either CNC machining like this. This is CNC machined. This has a lot of pockets and a lot of depth. This took 8 minutes to CNC all the way. including everything. Yeah. So to 3D print this object would take. This is 30 centimeters long, so it will probably take maybe at least 3 hours or something. Maybe more, and then you will still not get the same finish. This is wood, actually. This is MDA. This is Valchromat. This is a prototype for a laser cut sign like this. So this is the prototype for where the LED is supposed to live. I'll work on that later. Just need to finish these butterflies first. More butterflies for the masses. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer a 3D printed object, a laser cut object, a CNC machined object, or maybe handmade, or something else? There's a lot of ways to make stuff. I guess it really depends on the job. The right tool for the right job. I think this is one of the most decorative projects I've ever worked on. Maybe, I don't know. It's not very manly though. It's making butterflies, it's not the first thing that comes to your mind when you're a man. But it looks awesome. Maybe I need to make it up by making something more manly afterwards. I don't know what that should be though. Maybe a car or something. Making butterflies. What do you think? Looks cool? Laser cut butterflies. The cool thing with these butterflies is you can see the burn marks on the side. That kind of helps with the contrast. We're just using the normal color MDF and not painting it, because if you're painting it and then you burn it with a laser cutter, then you kind of get burned into the paint as well if you're not using any masking tape or something. I really like the burnt look on this. So at the moment I'm only able to read the chat messages that are being left on the Twitch channel. So you can go to cncgarasjen.no and find the Twitch link on the bottom of the web page, or you can just go directly to twitch.tv/cncgarasjen and talk to me there, and I'll be able to read your messages. But I really would like to show you something awesome. I'll just go grab some cool stuff. Oh, hi Reese. Nice to see you. Thanks for the comments. So let's see then. I'm not sure if you can see this yet. Probably says something. If you have Netflix, you probably know what this is. This is an acrylic engraved sign, and when you light it up from with a light somewhere, all the I'll just do it with a LED strip later, and then it becomes like a neon sign, right? So, and then you put it into this stand I have been prototyping, like that, and you light it up from the bottom side, and you have a neon sign, almost. It's basically an edge lit LED acrylic sign, but still awesome though. So, Reese, how are you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. You finished school for this summer, or are you still hard at it? You should be a mechanical... No, was it mechanic engineering? Was it something else? I don't remember anymore. I think it was mechanic engineering, was it? Anyway, an engineer. So Reese is studying in Warsaw in Poland. Oh, getting there. Not yet, but hang on. Not yet, but it's almost the end of the school year. Yeah, mechanical engineering, awesome. But you have Do you have 2 years left or something? I don't remember anymore. Sorry. So by the way, these are laser cuts out of 3mm of MDF. These little butterflies. And a friend asked if I could put them on some sticks, and they can put them in the flower pots, and it would be a nice. Oh, there is a draft here, and I forgot to close the door. So I'll just have to go and close that door before it wakes up the kids. So you have half a year left, or half a year, probably half a year left then. Or you have done half a year. No, you have done more than half a year. You started watching in November or something. No, maybe October. And then you were doing engineering already, so it must be more than half a year. Maybe it's half a year. Oh. This doesn't go through the quality check. So how long did you cut all of these butterflies? If you go into I actually cut a batch of them yesterday on Twitch. So if you go into the video clips, you can actually see the laser cutter actually cutting these out. It took 2 hours and 4 minutes for doing 25 butterflies, approximately ish. I also did another batch. I think it was the day before yesterday, in the evening. So you actually have 2 clips to watch if you want. If you want to see how these were made, you can see the laser cutter going at it. It's a 100-watt laser tube it's a CO2 type of laser, and the work area on the laser is around 90 by 60 centimeters. The MDF sheet that cut these out were 80 centimeters by 58 centimeters, approximately ish. And it's 3mm thick, so it's not that bad, and they're not that expensive to make either. So it's a lot of holes, yeah, definitely. And so the reason why I'm sitting doing this is these are some of the butterflies didn't cut that easily on the laser cutter, because I think the MDF sheet was a little bit warped, so it was laying like, which camera is it now? It was a little bit bent it was not laying flat onto the laser cutter. And then when you're using a laser cutter, it's really important that you focus the laser beam so the laser actually hits the material with the correct wavelength and focused, so the spot gets small enough to actually cut through the material. And when the MDF sheet is kind of bent, then this happens. It doesn't cut all the way through, and then you have to poke it through later, because there's some tiny MDF. I'm not sure if you can see that. It's a little bit too bright. Maybe if I kill the lights, that's actually better. You can almost see that it's kind of, you see the dark lines. They're kind of small fibers left. By the way, this is acrylic, 6mm of acrylic. I just used Inkscape and a free plugin from GitHub called, I think it was Tabbed Box Maker. If you search that on GitHub, you'll probably find a free plugin that makes these types of boxes. So I made a lot of them. These are MDF, 2 centimeter diameter, out of 3mm MDF. It's really cool to assemble. A little puzzle game. You stole my glass. I have got identical glasses from IKEA. Yeah. Trust me. Everybody, well, at least almost everybody buys stuff from IKEA, and I bet that if you go into almost any living room in the Europe or anywhere else, you'll probably find the same couch, the same TV bench, the same glass, the same everything. Everything is the same. That's the. Oh, this is not going through my quality check. I think. No, not approved. I think this is the batch that didn't cut all the way through. Yeah, that's why I left them in the end. Well, my kids can play with this. You can see this. I didn't even get to cut through the end of that. When you tear it off, you kind of everything goes with it. So the lesson learned. I still got like at least 40 butterflies that were good, and maybe 5 or 10 that weren't, and some that I screwed up. Cool. So now let's get back to the other prototype I'm working on. I just need to clean up a little bit. And remove some butterflies. So this is for a customer, yes. Well, we'll see. At the moment, it's just for fun, but I don't know. I think the perfect customer for this would be like a flower shop, a place that there's a store that sells flowers. They always have some accessories you can buy next to the flowers. Maybe if I like make a note that says I love you mom, or the best wife ever, or whatever, and just put next to it, and then you basically have a. Sorry, I just need to throw this away. Yeah, you have a market for. These are made for putting into flowers, right? Look at that horrible airbrush. Anyway. Then you have a market for it, and you have a sales channel. The question is, if do I know anybody that sells flowers? No. At least not flower shops. Oh, that'd be cool though. Will you put it in your garden? This is definitely not. This is definitely not for outside use. MDF doesn't carry water that well, so unless I protect it with some clear coat or paint or something, this will definitely not hold up well outside, because MDF will swell up like a what do you call it? Sponge? Swamp? Sponge? I think it's swamp. Sponge. It will at least the MDF will swell up, fill up with water, and just break or look bad, I guess. You can try it though. You can try it. You can put one of these inside a glass of water and see what happens. But at least for indoor use, it will be awesome. That was that. Now I need to find a place to put them. Uh-oh. I have no more room left. I have to stop making stuff, or start selling them, so I get rid of them. I think they look cool though. Butterfly. Jesus, there's many of them. I'll be right back. I just have to move these. So let's see. Next project. This project is an acrylic LED sign. I'll see if I can power it up so you can see how it looks like when it's lit up. I'm still working on the prototype here, so it's work in progress. But the biggest problem right now is heat. I really need to solve how to get the heat to be removed from the product in a proper way. So I'm kind of thinking of making some vent holes on the back side of this acrylic sheet. The MDF. Oh, sorry. Hang on, I got a question. I have got a question for you because I'm not sure. I have got machine with doors and there are two normal open limit switches which are connected in parallel. They are checking if doors are open or closed. What logical function will they perform? Or something else. So hang on. You have two buttons in parallel, so if either one of them is closed because they're normally open, so they're not normally, it goes like this. And which camera is it? The camera is on auto switch, so it's kind of random which camera it is. So normally open is like that, and normally closed is like that. So when you close a normally open switch, then it brings current through the circuit, and if any of the buttons connect, then you will bring circuit because they're in parallel. So it really doesn't matter. What are you programming this with? Are you programming it with an Arduino or something? If you use C++, you can just do an if. You can just do if and then check the input of the one circuit, because there's only one, right? Because you have it in parallel. If you would have it on two different inputs on the, for example, Arduino, then you would have to check both of those inputs, but you're right now, if I understand you correctly, you only have one input, and then it's just a basic check input. When you check input, you can use an if or a when or whatever, and when it gets closed, when you get current through it, if you have 5 volt through it or something, 12 volt maybe, and then do something when that happens, go alarm or go whatever. Yeah, it's really a really basic circuit. I would add, if you would go a little bit more advanced on that circuit, I would probably go bringing each of that buttons into a separate input on your microcontroller, and then if one door is open, one message, and if the other door is open, do another message, and then you can basically if either one of those doors are open, you want to have a fault message or a yellow lamp go off. Or in my case, on my laser cutter, if I open the lid on the laser cutter, there is a magnetic read switch on the inside that's doing the same thing as you're describing. If I open the door, then it goes into emergency stop mode. So the laser turns off and it starts going beep, 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 and the red light goes on. It's a fault message. You're doing it wrong message. It's basically the same thing you're trying to do. It's yeah. Hopefully I answered your question. So I would need some power to light this up. Where's the power? Ta-da! Just need to wait for the camera to switch. Ah, look at that. I'll just turn on the lights. Looks even more awesome. I can even program the colors on it. If I have the right remote. This doesn't have any battery in it. Yeah, it's this one. Do, 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 do. That top camera is horrible for showing that off. Unless I do that. So the thing here is, let's say you want another type of sign. Stranger Things! Oh, we need to do red one. Is it the wrong button again? I think it's the wrong remote. Where's this one? Ah, there was that one. Stranger Things. See, as soon as you get the colors from the side, it looks awesome. Hang on, camera switch. Ding, bling. And it's even brighter when it's closer to the base. But right now I'm working on the acrylic sign itself is basically engraving the text or the image or whatever logo or whatever you want on it, and cutting out the frame for it, the size and maybe some beveled edges or something, fillets or something. But the bigger problem is to make the base unit that actually carries the LED and the controller that changes the colors. Oh, sorry, I didn't see the chat there. Yes, exactly. For now it's a theoretical question. I'm not programming it yet. Yes, that would be the best option. Yeah, you're probably referring to the separate input for separate switch. That shouldn't be a problem. But I don't do it like that. I think it's not necessary. Yeah, it's basically you're just generating one fault message. It doesn't matter if it's that door or that door at the moment. It's basically the same on a CNC machine. You have a lot of kill switches or home switches that tells you if you go to the end of the CNC machine, then it gives a homing switch signal. And on my CNC machine in the garage, all of those three axes, the Z, Y and X axis, home switches are on the same input on the controller. And that's because the China vendor decided to do it like that. I would definitely do it the other way, so you can actually home all 3 axes at the same time, but they didn't do that, and I think that's the normal procedure anyway. So I will have 2 switches connected in parallel to 1 port on the controller. Yeah, I understand completely. And I'm not sure which function will be in. I'm not sure which function will it be in my case. All right, very nice. Yeah, the signs are pretty cool. And you can make them a lot bigger. I have one over there that's like 80 centimeters, and for now I'll just keep. So the bottom on this is laser cut. This is MDF. I'll just pop it open for now. This looks like that, and you just basically glue the LED strip onto it and wire it up. And I have CNC machined some pockets into the material so that all the buttons fits. No, the cables fits perfectly. What I'm a little bit concerned about is the heat. I would need some venting for the heat. Still not quite sure how to do that. One solution would be to make holes on the backside, because the backside is not shown. But then because the MDF sheet is going all the way down, it's going actually deeper down than the bottom. That light is a little bit too bright, I think. So this is actually going into the base unit with a couple of millimeters of clearance. I even made a line on the MDF that tells me where to put the LED strip, so it's easy to assemble. But for now, let's just try and glue this together. This is a prototype anyway, so the whole point of it is just to make it, see what works and what doesn't, and make another one that's better. And this is, I think this is the 6th or 7th version of this exact base unit. So for now, I just want to glue this in there. Have to make sure I don't touch the acrylic. So Reese says I need to go, maybe I will come again today, but I'm not sure. Alright, thanks for watching anyways. I appreciate it. It's always nice to talk to you, and good luck with your project. I really would like to see how it turns out. Just you know where to reach me. Just say hello in the Discord channel or drop some images of your project. By the way, how did your pick and place machine turn out? Are you finished with it now, or? By the way, if you see the white cable going out of the unit there, I'll just bring it closer. This is a cable protector that kind of holds the cable in place. If you kind of pulls in the cable, if you trip on the product or something, the cable will not snap off or kill anything. Hopefully. You never know though. It's a lot of glue. This needs to cool down for a second. 5. Maybe I'll do the other one at the same time. So I made this is the IR transmitter, no, the receiver, sorry, IR receiver or LDR. that reads only infrared lights, and that is made to read the infrared signals from the remote. And I have made a pocket that actually goes, so the IR receiver actually goes directly into the acrylic, so you can, the entire acrylic sheet actually touches the LDR, and that makes the entire acrylic sheet a receptor for the remote, hopefully, so you'll be able to reuse the remote from far away without struggling too much with that part, at least. The proof is in the pudding, so yes, we still have to see how it actually works, turns out. But this far it does have some, seems to have some positive effect, at least. It's really cool to design a product from scratch. You just start with your imagination, and you go through a lot of different revisions. This is actually an example of a revision, so let's see if I can film that. I'll just move everything closer. You can see that this is kind of laying loose. This is a little bit loose. On this version, I actually made a pocket that holds that in place. So that's the kind of tiny revisions you can go through when you're making a lot of you're making one version of it. You just burn it out on the CNC machine, and then you just try it out, and you see, oh, that should be a little bit different, and then you go back, fix it, make another one, and then after a lot of doing that, you can go very fast to close to a finished project, because you're able to do all of this very fast. In the old days, you had to kind of send a prototype for production in China or whatever, wherever you got your products made, and maybe make 1,000 out of them or something, or at least a couple of hundreds, and then they came back and it goes, oh shit, we should have thought of that, maybe that should be like this and like not like that. And right now I did this in one day in my garage. So it's really nice to kind of be able to be in all ends of the production line, all the way from the production design to making the product. You can go very fast through all the entire prototyping process when you go from an idea to a product, and that's what I love. It's pretty freaking awesome. But I'm still a little bit concerned about heat. Electronics makes heat, and heat kills electronics. So they're not the best of friends, if you know what I mean. So you just have to kind of take that into account. Every time you include electronics into a product, then you need to include a cooling process, or a way of getting the heat away from the electronics. If you don't do that, you're going to release the blue smoke and destroy it at some point. So I have made some ways to remove heat. There are some clearance in the both ends of the acrylic sheet that will release some of the heat, and there will probably be a version of this with small dents in the bottom layer here that hopefully will act as a vent. I don't know. But for now, we'll just test this as it is. We'll turn it on for a few days, watch closely how it works, and what doesn't work, improve that, And at some point we will hopefully have a product that you can actually buy. So if you want your own acrylic LED sign with your maybe your Twitch name or something on it, you can buy one. And since I'm making all of the parts, almost all of the parts, it will be definitely cheaper than doing it at a professional, what do you call it, sign making company or something. You can basically make it read anything. Your favorite TV show or your nickname or a message to your loved ones or whatever. So let's see then how this turns out. I'm thinking of making some heating channels over here. I'll actually just test that out manually. I think I have a drill. Where's my Dremel? I need a tiny drill bit. Where is that? And that goes into this connector, hopefully, if I didn't glue it in the wrong way. Like that. And if this were the final product, I would definitely glue that little connector in as well. But it's not the final product, and I will definitely open this up a lot of times just to see how things is going. But for now, it looks beautiful. The Valcromat. This is the material here is called Valcromat, and it's a really beautiful type of wood that gives. It looks like stone almost. When you sand it down and maybe give it a clear coat or something of. It looks really good. Then I just need to clean this before I put it in, because I don't think this is cleaned. I have to go and wash this in the other room. I'll be right back. So let's see then. The interesting thing with going away from the the live stream for a little bit, when you come back you have a lot of more viewers than when you left. So apparently you like watching an empty screen more than having me in it. That's nice. acrylic scratches really easily, so you have to be really nice to it. I would really like to have like some gloves on when I do it, because then I don't have to have all those marks from my fingers. But for now, since I don't have any gloves at the moment, I'll just do it like that. This is, I have made this very, very tight. Oh, I have to put it in the right way. It's the wrong way. I made it very, very tight, so it's barely just fitting in there. And the reason for that is because that way it fits perfectly and it doesn't fall out that easily, hopefully. So I just need to put it in the middle. Come on. There it goes. Look at that. The wood got a little bit wet there. Probably will dry up, hopefully. And what we're left with is a sign. And that sign is unreadable until I put some power on it. Oh, it went into full disco mode. Right now it's just powered by a USB type of power bank. So it's running on 5 volts, so you can basically use it on any type of power supply. You can run it directly from the computer or power it through an Arduino maybe. Oh, that's an Arduino is a little bit far stretched because it does only supports like 50 milliamperes on each output pin. This draws a lot more. So it's a 50-50 LED strip, so it's 5 by 5 millimeter, and it's programmable, so you can basically the controller is wrong remote again. There you go. Turn it off and on. So let's do the classic red Stranger Things look. I think you can have brightness, so you can have more or less brightness. I think this is the hardest. So flash is, you're able actually oh that's kind of annoying. So you're able to control the speed on the different modes. Is it only doing one color with the so that's going fast now, super fast. It will be really interesting to see how this works in the long run when it's been on for a while. It is a prototype, so I have no idea how it actually works in the long run. You basically just have to leave it on for a while and just see how it turns out. It looks beautiful though. I'll just put it on in the background here, maybe right here. Stranger Things. So this is because I like Stranger Things, I made that. You can basically have anything. Like CNC Garage or anything else. So at least I have 2 prototypes up and no, 1 prototype up and running. The other one is missing an important little thing here. It looks much cooler now. But I need some lights if I want to glue this. It's much harder to glue it after you have been... Oh, I'm out of glue. When in doubt, insert more glue. There you go. Just need to put a little bit of glue in the backside there, just to keep that in place. Just make sure it has some clearance to the wall. So this is the earlier revision without that extra guide wall next to the controller. But it still works though. It would be nice to see which of these works better for the heating problems. Because LED does emit heat, just not as much as a halogen light or something, but still it does generate heat, so will be interesting to see how it turns out. Come on. Yeah, this was definitely better on the other version to insert. Easier to insert. There we go. It's in. I even made a kind of a cable guidance rail. So there's a little pocket. Oh, it's camera keep changing all the time. There's a little pocket there that kind of the cable goes into. And hopefully this will fit. And it didn't. That's nice. Oh, that's why. I haven't decided on what type of screws to mount on the bottom side here yet, but definitely will be some type of wood screws with short. There we go. And now it needs some power. I wonder if I have another power bank somewhere. And I do. I even have one that's sponsored by my work. See. So let's see if it still works. Yeah, it works. Hashtag awesome. There's a lot of red lights here now. It's almost red light district. So maybe green, maybe let's do some fancy fade stuff. No. Let's turn off the lights. Oh, it needs some cleaning. I think if I'm ever able to ship this out to customers, I think I will need to leave the plastic on at least at one of the sides until it's finally arrived at its destination at the customers, and they have to pull the plastic off themselves. So let's see, the chat went away now. Looks cool though. I'm really happy with this prototype. It's easily, I can make all of the parts myself, and it looks kind of good. It's made of wood, so but it doesn't really look like wood. It looks like rock. Really like the finish. Let's make another one. So then we have at least 2 prototypes up and running. Here is actually some of the earlier revisions. This is really cool when you look at it in an engineering type of way. It started with I think it was this one. I'll just move the camera closer, and we'll just wait for it to switch automatically. Come on then. So this was the first version. It's basically a slot within a type of MDF with 4 screw holes, and then I planned on making this type of lid on it, or it's basically a bottom. And then I went on to making this one. It's another version that has standoffs for the screw holes on the bottom sheet, and then you can see it fits perfectly, hopefully. And you can see the MDF. I'll actually turn that light off and turn that on instead. You can see this one has marks on it for the connector and the LED, so you know where to put it, and then it fits perfectly, right? And then I made a version with a wall standoff, so it actually is supposed to be off the wall, and this is the bottom of that one. So that light didn't work. So the plan here was to have the acrylic sheet on the top unit, and then the LED strip on the bottom unit, and then sandwich them together with some bolts. And then you would have a wall standoff at the same time, so you can have it from the wall. But I kind of went away from that, and then just further down the road into the prototyping mess. And now this is the latest version. You can see these 2 are almost the same, just slight different versions. Yeah. Anyway, and as I said earlier, that's the beauty when you're making all of the parts yourself. You can go through all of that different revisions of a product and do micro adjustments until you're completely satisfied with how the product is assembling and working, and it's really fun. So for now we need another, I think this is the last one I have actually. I need to have that light that height, or I just turn that away. So let's see then. This is supposed to go in there. Need to do the IR LED first, because that's the most critical part. It can only fit at one place, and then the other cable just snaps right in. I'm just gonna hot glue that in. A little bit of glue. Now I can do this part. The reason for using that much glue on the cables is because they're what's the English word for strekkavlaster? When you pull on a cable, you can break what's connected to the cable, right? If you put the cable through a strekkavlaster, then then you will protect the cable and the product. So of user error, right? This is basically what that is. It's the cable is clamped through an angled and glued in a proper way. So if someone accidentally falls on a cable, hopefully it will not damage the electronics inside or the cable. Well, maybe the cable, but not the electronics inside. So the first thing to break would be the cable and not the electronics inside. So then you can easier see what happened and fix it. If the electronics inside breaks before the cable breaks, then the user cannot see that the cable has the product is defect inside, and it might damage something, start a fire, I don't know, something happens. It's much better to make sure it holds up properly. All good electronic devices has been assembled in a way that the inside of the product is very rough. It's able to handle pretty rough behavior or user interaction. I think I'm out of lead strips. Well, that wasn't a part of the plan. Well, at least I'm not out of LED strips. I'm out of the cable connector that goes into the LED strip. But how did that happen? 1, 2, 3. There should be 2 more somewhere. At least there's one more. Oh, Reese is back. I'm back, but only for a while. Need to go sleep faster today. Put those LEDs into your PC. Yeah, you can do that. As long as you don't pull more than 500 milliamperes or 5 volts to the LED strips, you can power them from your computer. That's correct. So anytime your computer is on, the lights will be on. So I'm not sure if you can see this, but if I do like that, maybe there is some tiny burn marks on the MDF that tells me where to put the LED strip, and that's a really good help when you assemble this. And now half of PC products has got LEDs. That's not good for me. Why isn't it good for you, Reese? What happened to this plier? It's not doing its job. Bah. Plier had one job, and that was to grip, and it failed. The thing is, you don't want to pull off the glue on the back side. You only want to pull off the paper. Oh. So it's supposed to go like this. Just follow the lines and you're good. So, nice clean cut off. Making sure the glue is sticking. Putting on some hot glue in the end for the cable. Blah. Waiting for the glue to stick. That looks better. So that's the first part. Oh, I need some headers. Those are short. Let's see if that fits still. Like that, fits like a glove. And then the cable goes perfectly down into the guided cable way. And then the back plate goes into the pockets, the CNC machine pockets. If you want to see me CNC machine these wooden things, you can go a couple of days back in history on Twitch or on Facebook, and you'll see me making this. Fits like a glove. Perfect. And then we're ready for one more. One more sign. I don't have any more signs, so I have to make some. And I'll write the one to make. Yeah. So, I found out that the audio on the computer was set up a little bit wrong, so it looks like it was playing back the audio from the stream twice. So if you heard any echo or painful repeating of audio, sorry. That's what happens when you don't monitor your own audio. Should know better. So, let's see. Let's just leave it there. So we're ready for one more sign. Just have to make it out of acrylic. So let's turn the hot glue off so we don't start a fire. And I think it's time for me to step away from the chat for a while. I will probably be laser cutting the last sign tomorrow, I think. So continue watching then. Thanks for sticking with me. Remember to click follow on Twitch. If you find me on Twitch, the twitch.tv/cncgarasjen, then you just click follow there, and I appreciate it. Alright, until next time, thank you, and watch this fantastic, awesome science. No. Nei. Neida. And I'll just finish off with one of my latest songs that you will find on Spotify and all of the other places. Or maybe we should... yeah, let's do that. Alright, thanks for watching. Remember to click follow and stay tuned.